Hello, boys and girls. We are going to be working on a project that is related to the boxes that you drew in 1 Point Perspective last week. We're going to be working on a project that's related to that today, and it'll be really great for you to have done that other one first. If you are listening to this video and you have not done last week's assignment, boxes in 1 Point Perspective, I want you to pause this video and go do that other assignment first, turn that one in, and then come back to this one because you're going to need the knowledge and practice you gained from last week to do this work really well. You'll need a ruler and a pencil for today. Your ruler can have numbers on it, obviously. Most of your rulers probably do. But if you don't have a ruler, you don't necessarily need the numbers. So I'm just going to use the blank side or the plain side of my ruler because I really just need a straight edge. If you don't have a ruler, any kind of straight edge that you have at home will do. So you could use the edge of a notebook, for example, or part of a cereal box or something like that. We're going to start by bringing our ruler to the middle of our paper and creating a horizon line. So it doesn't have to be exactly in the middle, but we're going to make a line across our paper very near the middle. And then we're going to put a vanishing point on that horizon line. And last week, most of you put your vanishing point in the middle. And I'm going to encourage you to do that again today. The more experience you get with this kind of 1 Point Perspective drawing, the more different things you can try. You could put your vanishing point way on one side or way on the other. But for now, I think it's good for us to just keep those in the middle. Then what we're going to do today is I'm going to have you create your initials in 1 Point Perspective, okay? And we're going to do one of your initials below the horizon line. So I'm going to just use the initial for my first name. I'm going to lightly draw the letter L here. My first name starts with an L. And then I'm going to have you do one of your initials above the horizon line. My middle name starts with an M. And then I'm going to have you do one of your initials on the horizon line, okay? So I have an L and an M and an S, one below, one above, and one on the horizon line. I'm going to have you do the same, okay? The next thing we're going to do is turn these initials into bubble letters. And I'm going to use my straight edge for that. And you'll notice my L is right here, but I'm going to go on the outside of my L and go around and create bubble letters by tracing all the way around my L. Okay, I think I'll go on this side of the ruler. I think we'll pause and speed this step up and come back in just a minute. All right, now that we have our letters drawn, and I think you might have noticed I erased those inside letters, so we just have the outside of our bubble letters in that block letter form. Now we're going to connect our letters towards the vanishing point. So I've got my straight edge, and I'm going to line up my straight edge or my ruler with the vanishing point and with one of the points on my letters. Right now it's that top left corner on my L. And then I'm going to draw a line connecting those two. And I'm going to do that for every spot that I can. So now I have my ruler lined up at the next point on my L and my vanishing point, and I'm going to connect those two. This back part of this line is not going to stay here forever. We're going to get rid of that eventually. So if you wanted that part to not be as dark, that would be okay. But it'd be good to line up all these points with your vanishing point for now. If I look down here, this inside corner of my L can connect towards my vanishing point. This outside corner would not, because if I draw a line from here toward my vanishing point, I'm going right through my letter, and I don't want any lines to go through my letter. So I'm not going to connect from this corner because it wouldn't work to get to the vanishing point without going through my letter. This corner will work. So we'll connect this corner to the vanishing point. This corner will also work. So we'll connect that one as well. So now I have all the points from my L connected towards my vanishing point. Now to finish this letter, I'm going to make some parallel lines. Right now it looks like I have an L that is traveling to infinity and beyond here, like all the way through the world to this vanishing point, and that's not how I want it to look in the end. So I need to start doing some parallel line work, okay? See this edge right here? This edge is vertical of my L, that edge. So I'm going to make a vertical line over here, and I want it to be nice and straight. So if I line my ruler up with that edge and slide it back, trying to keep it nice and even, I'm going to put a line vertically there, and that's going to end, end my L. So I'm going to go ahead and erase these lines going to the vanishing point. Then from this corner, I'm going to tip my ruler, so that it lines up with this line. It's parallel with this line. And then I'm going to connect from this corner over to that next vanishing line. And now we have what looks like the top of this part of the L. I can erase this line now that goes to my vanishing point. Then from this corner, we need a line that's parallel to this line. So I'll slide my ruler over so it's parallel. And when it meets this point right here, I'm going to go up till I meet the next vanishing line. And I think I'm going to wait to erase this one because it's really close to the one next to it. And I just don't want to erase more than I need to erase there. So I'm going to just connect this next one first. If I line my ruler up with this line right here and slide it backwards till I see where that point is at the top, I'll make a line that connects across the top. And now I know what I can erase of both of those lines. So I'll go ahead and erase that last section of vanishing lines there from the top of my L. I may have to put this in just a little better. You should be able to see now that L in 1 point perspective headed towards the vanishing point, but you'll notice all these sides end parallel to the same edges on the front of my L. Okay. We're going to go to the S next because the S is a little bit different. There are some corners on my S. There's this corner right here, and I can connect that to my vanishing point without going through my letter, so I'll do that. This corner also can connect towards my vanishing point without going through my letter. This corner can connect towards my vanishing point, but only a little distance. Right here is my letter. Here is the space I have. So when I go from this corner towards my vanishing point, I'm only going to go as far as the letter. When it runs into the letter, then I'm going to stop. Okay. This corner right here, I'm not so sure about. That looks like it would go through, actually kind of right along that same line. So I'm just going to not do anything with that corner. Now the S is different because it also has these curves. What you'll do with the curve is set your ruler on your vanishing point and tip it towards your letter till it runs into your letter. Okay, and you might notice it's just a little bit away from my letter, and that's because the thickness of my pencil won't allow me to put that ruler right up next to that line. I have to have it just a tiny bit away in order to actually hit the right spot with my pencil. So I'm going to go from here to my vanishing point, and then I should have another curve down here that I can hit. If I go from my vanishing point up towards the bottom of that S, I can get that line drawn as well. Now there's a lot going on in our S. It's kind of an interesting interesting letter in that way. What's going to happen is we're going to have parallel lines. Well, one parallel straight line right here. And then we're also going to have some curves, some kind of parallel curves, okay? So I'm going to start with the first parallel line, and I think we'll make this S kind of thick. So I've got this line that I'm trying to be parallel to, and I'm going to go all the way out to here to end that line, okay? I can erase these lines. I'll need to be careful not to erase my horizon line, or if I do, I guess I'll just have to draw it again wherever I accidentally erased it. Then from this point, this corner here, what we want to do is go down, curve down in a curve that matches this one. So we're going to do that, curve down here in a curve that matches that one, and then I can erase that line. Now this part is a little bit different. It can be a little bit tricky because we don't have a spot we're going to. We're trying to create the thickness here of this letter like we created the thickness right here, but we don't have any kind of corner that we're trying to land on or end with. So my suggestion to you would be to take a look at how thick this part is and do this part the same thickness. So you would just follow the contour of that S. See, that curve is following this curve. Just follow that contour of that curve until you run into something that belongs to the S, okay? And then you can erase anything on the inside, like this horizon line won't show up there because it's covered up by that part of the S. And then we can erase this vanishing line as well after that spot, after that corner. So our S is kind of interesting, going back in space there, because we've got this little thickness here, we've got the thickness of that edge there, and then the top of this part and the thickness of that side. We're going to do the M as well. We'll line up the M, corner of the M there with that vanishing point. Connect that. This corner we should be able to line up also. This inside corner we can line up with the vanishing point. This one should line up. This one should line up. This one I think will. Yep. This one will. A lot of them here on the bottom of this M. And this one will. We got a lot of going on there at the bottom of the M. This corner, if we line that up with the vanishing point, it would draw right through our letter, so we're not going to do that. Same story with this one. That would go through our letter, so we don't want that one either. This one and this one and this one would all go right through our letter, so we don't want to line those up and draw those lines because that's going to make our letter look see-through, which is not what we're going for right now. For the M, we're going to get these edges created, and you'll just want to start with one to pick the thickness you want for your letter. Let's go with a little less thick M here. So we're going to end our M like that. That'll be the thickness of our M. And I'm going to just take the rest of these two vanishing lines away. You could wait to erase those vanishing lines until you're totally finished, but I find it to be a little bit easier to see where I'm going and what I'm supposed to hit next if I don't have all those extra lines there. So decide which way you'd like to try it and just go for it. The next line we need is one parallel to this one, so I'm going to back my ruler up here. We're parallel now, so we'll get that line in there. And then I don't need this one anymore. Excuse me. From this corner, we need a line parallel to that one. Can you see that line right there that we're trying to aim for? So we're going to go going to back that up till we're parallel and we're hitting this mark to go down to that line right there. And then from here, we want our line parallel to this one. Then we can erase that line. From here, we want our line parallel to that one. So we'll go to that line and back up from there. The next one, we want parallel to this one. That one should be a little in a slightly different spot. Sorry, gotta get that going the right way there. So this one we're gonna back up and go down like that. Those are really close to each other, but it looks pretty cool. And then for this last one, we're gonna just be parallel to that line right there, like that. I left those last few vanishing lines because I was not sure I could erase them without erasing lines I still needed, so I just kind of left those last few there for the end. I think that looks pretty cool. I think for just a moment here with the M, I'm going to show you how, if you want to, you don't have to do this, but if you wanted to, you could add a little bit of shading to your letter, and that would really help it look three-dimensional. I'm going to leave the front just white here, and then I'm going to pick a surface to be really, really dark. I think I'll pick these inside verticals to be really, really dark. So I'm going to just take a second and shade those inside verticals really, really dark. That side and this one. And then I'll pick a kind of another set of edges in here, or faces, to be kind of medium. I think we'll do the medium ones. Let's do the medium ones on the ones that are facing the bottom. So these three are facing, kind of facing the ground. So I'm going to do sort of a medium value on those three. I like it when my pencil, my pencil shading is pretty smooth. Otherwise, I feel like it's kind of distracting. So bear with me as I try to sort of smooth these out a little bit so they don't look just like kind of a series of scribbled lines. And then the last two that I've got here are these two, and I think I'm going to try to do something even lighter there. I might have to make that center part just a little darker yet. I'm trying to follow some of the lines that are on my actual letter here as I do my shading, because it tends to look a little bit nicer. I'm going to just darken up this center part a little bit more so you can tell the difference between the center and those sides. And that's our three-dimensional looking letters in 1-point perspective. So what I'd like you to do for this week is to draw your initials, one below the horizon line, one above the horizon line, and one on the horizon line, and then turn them into 1-point perspective letters like we did here. And if you'd like to do some shading, you can. Good job, boys and girls.